So I know nowadays you guys do a bunch of different work ranging from residential to commercial, maintenance, snow removal. What did you start with?
We actually started doing installs. So we would go into backyards, front yards, new residential places, specifically residential, and offer. There's a lot of building out where we are right now. So just tons of opportunity. And so we started putting stuff in for people and sod, grass, all the things, rock, whatever you could put in your backyard. Basically, we started doing that, and we did that all the way through 2020. We actually didn't do any lawn care until 2021.
Oh, interesting. And
Yeah.
on the install side, it's more project based.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And what's for the uninitiated, what's the difference between like kind of normal landscaping, then you'll see hardscaping?
Yeah. So hardscaping is going to be more of like your pavers. Decks probably would be included in that as well. And then your typical landscaping is more like shrub, greenery, bushes, that kind of stuff. That's more like what's laying around versus what's walking, and how do you get from one point to another, I would say.
Okay. So if you're doing an install and you're putting in like rocks, where does that fall? Is that technically soft or hard?
Rocks, I probably put it in both categories. That's the weird one, just because I mean, some people use it as a walkway, which I'm not a fan of, but it kind of just depends on the project itself. But I mean, especially minus or smaller rock types that are pathway gravel types, those would definitely be in the hardscape arena.
Okay. Got it. Before we get too deep in, wanted to give a quick intro for folks listening in. Nick here founded Grounded Lawn in 2017. And tagline is that they are proud of being Colorado born and having the highest expectations. So they provide both residential and commercial lawn maintenance. They have 6 employees, and really excited to be chatting about Nick's journey and the ins and outs of landscaping. So Nick, thanks for making some time.
Yeah, very happy to be here. This is awesome.
So kind of rewinding back to the early days, started doing install work. How'd you come up to speed? I mean, before we hopped on, we were chatting about your background. How'd you come up to speed on how to do an install project?
Yeah, great question. My dad, at the time, he owned a little over an acre of land and basically built a brand new house on it. And so I got to be through the process of how do you put all this stuff in? We did everything. We did a waterfall, we did a river, sod, and I was pretty young at the time when that happened. I think it was like 15 or 16, and just got to see the whole gamut of what it looked like, and it just kind of sank in. I never really thought, oh, this is a lot of fun. I would like to keep doing this as a career, but it was something that I knew how to do very well.
Got it. And are you typically being brought in because of a home purchase, or these folks who are like, hey, the backyard looks like crap, it's time that we do something about it?
Most of our clientele back then was definitely new build. In fact, we would target that arena the most, but we did have quite a few also that would just randomly call and say, hey, like, I need an overhaul. This is not what I want, especially after 2020. Well, during 2020 with COVID and everything, people were like, I'm going to be here for this entire year. It's going to look good. So we're going to spend some money on this.
Gotcha. And what did the average ticket size look like for an install?
Yeah, that's also a good question. The biggest project we ever did was around $75,000. But we took on all of it. I mean, I was anything that we could do, let's do it. I mean, the smallest was probably $3,000. I think our median average was probably closer to in the 20s and probably low 30s though.
Okay. And you said this was kind of the bread and butter through 2020. Nowadays, are you doing any install, or is it only maintenance?
It is 95% all maintenance. We take on the install type of work, hardscaping, landscaping, when it's our down season. So
Okay.
we could do a lot of that, even though it's Colorado. We could do a lot of that throughout the 3 to 4 months of off time. So
Okay. And what time is that, from like October through February or what?
Yeah, all of our blowouts, sprinkler blowouts are done in October, and we're not really mowing or anything from November. It depends on the year. Sometimes we have some really warm years in the fall, but we're not mowing from November till March. So April is when we start, and October is when we end.
Okay. And so from a cash flow perspective, are those 6 employees, are they W-2?
Yes.
You keeping them on during the winter? Okay. So what do? You just try to like schedule the install job, push them back into the winter months to keep you busy?
Yep, yep. We get questioned on this like every single week. Hey, can you come do this? And our manager who manages all of our operations, he will always tell them like, hey, we would definitely love to do it, but our window for doing this, all of our time, all of our energy right now goes to lawn mowing. That's our primary. We want to help you, we want to serve you, but the only time we have available is in this bracket. And some people are willing to wait. Some people need it right now, and we're not the fit for them. That's totally okay. I send a lot of business to some people that I know in the industry just because we've built a good reputation and they know us, we know them. So we're always handing things to people because we think that's a good thing. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then during the winter months, what's the breakdown between these install projects you've been able to kind of push off versus snow removal or?
yeah, we definitely do snow removal, and our priority is always our full service clients. So people who are doing lawn care, we prioritize them first, and if we have bandwidth to take on more, we will. But outside of that, snow is very hard to guarantee or know exactly. We've had years where we have 3 storms, and then we've had years where we have 25 storms. So it's all over the radar, but we just sprinkle in the jobs in between there. And we're pretty open with our customers and just saying, hey, weather permitting, we can do this from this window to this window. And if we need to move things back there, we do a lot of communication with our customers. So
Gotcha. On the snow removal side, we don't have that problem here in Texas. So
yeah.
haven't seen a bobcat running around. But do y'all have like rigs to deal with that, or are you mainly just sending the guys out with shovels and they're clearing out the driveway? What does that look like?
Yeah, we for our residential, we have shovelers, but for our commercial, we definitely have trucks with plows and all the stuff that goes with that, and ATVs that take care of HOA sidewalks, that kind of deal.
Okay. And then you're not having to take the snow anywhere. You're just pushing it off the pathways and kind of leaving it there.
Yeah, we don't haul any snow. We're not even set up for that, and we wouldn't take that on. We really stick to our bread and butter, just pushing it off to the side. Our guys really like doing it. It's actually probably their favorite thing to do in the whole
Nice.
gamut. So
It's probably pretty therapeutic,
it
It's
is.
surrounded by snow. It's
Yeah.
quiet.
Yeah.
Cool. And then what drove the shift to maintenance generally?
Yeah, right around that 2020 time, I started thinking about, what does this look like long term? And so I started really sinking my teeth into what does it mean to sell the company. As much as I love doing it, the goal was always to sell eventually, and quickly realized that the market for lawn care was a better sellable market for where we are and what we do. And we constantly were asked, hey, like, thanks for putting all this in. Do you guys also mow? Because we'd love to hire you. And I had always said no. And then we started with just a few clients, and that quickly became, in 2021, people were like, man, we love this. We're telling the people right next door. And so we just organically grew fairly rapidly, all things considered, but it's because we had a true client base beforehand. It's not like we just started knocking on doors for lawn care. We knocked on doors, but that was for installs.
Sure. Okay. And your typical client, are you coming by on a weekly or a monthly basis? What does that look like?
Definitely weekly. We mow every week. We're looking at roughly, again, depending on the year and the warmth, we're looking at anywhere from 27 to 30 mows
Oh, wow.
per client. Yeah.
Wow. And then with those 6 guys, are they just splitting out and they're each tackling a client at a time, or do you pair them up?
So each route's different. When we do residential days, they go out on their own. I watch some of these companies around us. They have like 3 or 4 guys and doing residential work. I have no idea how they're profitable, at least to a decent level. It's so much payroll and you don't have enough time. Like, yeah, they could do it faster, but on a residential property, we're typically on site 15, 20 minutes max. There's a couple that are a little bit bigger and yada, yada, but for the most part, it's a 15-minute turnaround. So our guys are doing 2 to 3 sites per hour, one person at a time, one truck. And that enables us to have, with good route density, it allows us to accomplish quite a bit of sites within one day.
Okay. What do y'all use for tracking all of that? Like building out the routes and making sure you're not, sending people ping ponging around.
Yeah, so there's a couple of things that we use. Our trucks all have trackers in them. And that's really just used in case there's like bad service somewhere, a truck goes down, we need to rescue it. We know where it's at. But we use a service provider called Lawn Buddy, and that's our customer base. And we really really like them. I've tried a lot of different things, but they route for our guys. They keep everything scheduled. They communicate. We can communicate through Lawn Buddy to our customers. They can actually have a app that they download where they can integrate with us and start having some better communication.
Gotcha. And then you mentioned on the residential days. So you break the week into when you're hitting commercial and when you're hitting residential?
Yep. The first half is always commercial. We focus on that just because most commercial places, they're walking in Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. They don't want their grass looking like it just woke up out of bed. They want it to be well manicured, and so we focus on that. Residential is different. Most of the time, they don't really care, so we put them on the back end of the week.
Yeah. And so when you started, you're doing kind of door knocking for installs. You're able to use that customer base to then move into maintenance. How did you get your first commercial clients?
That's a good question. Our very first commercial clients. So all of everything we've ever done, the only marketing we've done is door knocking at the very first year for installs. After that, we had really good Google reviews. We had a lot of people who were just talking about us around the local area, and so we've never done any marketing outside of that, zero. And because of that word, once we started doing lawn care, it started getting passed to certain people. And one of them was we actually did an install for them on a commercial property, and they were like, "Hey, can you start mowing?" And we hadn't done any commercial yet, and so we said sure, and took that on as our very first one. It was a smaller property, which was good to learn and grow into. So
Yeah. What are the big differences between resi and commercial?
equipment is a big one. The equipment load we take to a commercial location is more commercial type mowers. We only use Wrights, if you're familiar with this type, and we also only use standers. We don't do any riding mowers where you sit. It's better for viewpoint for our guys to look and see and watch out for obstacles. Riders, you have a worse line of sight. And we also don't do trailers. So we load everything into what's called a ramp rack onto our trucks. And so everything's just outfitted. There's less insurance probability of getting in accidents and dealing with problems with how to turn around. And so it's a sweet setup. But what goes to a site is very different. Like, we don't take big machinery to residential. We just use push mowers.
Where'd you come up with a lot of these tactics? Is it just kind of learning and trial by error? Or did you have like an advisor or someone in the industry saying, "Hey, you want standers and not riders on commercial properties"?
I just did a lot of R&D, like a ton of research. Whenever we were about to jump into something new, commercial property or anything like that, I wanted to make sure that my big thing, our three values are responsibility, quality, and servitude. And I wanted to make sure we could actually serve them, because I knew the cost of that. If we don't show up and do what we say we're doing, our reviews the cost will hit that immediately. And it's our number one generator of new revenue and new growth. And so I wanted to make that apparent. So I did a ton of, there were nights where I would be up till, my wife would attest to this, where I'd be up till like 3 a.m. just Googling, YouTubing, researching, what does this look like and what's the best thing to do? Because it cost us. If I was going to make a big purchase on a new mower, I didn't want to just miss. I wanted to make sure it was the right purchase.
Yeah. What does your day-to-day look like nowadays? It sounds like you have the crews, you got an operations manager handling kind of scheduling and routing.
Yeah. I send off payroll and I write a few checks. That's all I do. I don't do anything else. I have a few meetings through the month with our ops manager and just make sure we're on pace, on schedule, but I do nothing else.
And what's your goal with the business?
We're actually currently selling, so we're looking at getting that going. Yeah.
All righty. And then what for you? What's next on the horizon?
Yeah, great question. I definitely want to do something else, start something again. I'm not totally sure. I have a couple things floating in the ether of what that could be and what that is, and I haven't landed on anything yet. Want to finish well with this first, and then move into whatever that looks like. So, a couple options for sure.
For folks thinking about getting into the landscaping game, whether it's trying to buy your company or start one from scratch, what piece of advice would you give them?
Buying is a lot easier. I can tell you that. 0 to 1 is the hardest thing for, I think, anybody to do. And I don't know that everybody's wired for that either. It takes a lot of grit, and a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. I think both do, but one, you're buying an engine or you're making an engine. And so
Sure.
I think you got to figure out what you're capable of and use some people around you to know who you are and what you're capable of. Because the other thing is, as a business owner, leader, you could harm and hurt a lot of people if you make those mistakes. If they get a job with you, say, get off something else, just to follow you, do what you're doing. And if you're not prepared for all the risk that's on the table, you have to lay people off, and that's not fun. That's not good. So the goal is to help people through the journey, I would say.
Sure. How would you suggest folks kind of evaluate whether they're a better fit for buying or building?
I think having really good leaders around you that know you, that can speak into your life and say, hey, like, here's some things I've seen you do in the past, and those are all builder things. Or, hey, I think you can do this, but starting from scratch is, you've never been good at sales. You've never done, so like it'll be a longer road, harder road. Just to put yourself around some really honest people that can tell you the freaking truth, man. Like, don't be afraid to hear it either. It's good.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, Nick, thanks so much for coming on and sharing your journey, and rooting for you both. Excited for wherever Grounded Lawn lands and whatever you get up to next.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks.